protein, good food, and sleeping well. Surely there's more to gym than that.
Yeah, recovery.
Okay, recovery.
And this is the point that people always forget about.
Gym is a hot topic.
Mm-hmm.
More people want to be active. Gyms are often busier at the beginning of the year than towards the end. But long story cut short, what would be your gym advice? I know it's very vague, but just think of a regular person who wants to be fit and healthy. And then I'll ask you about gym bros.
Yeah.
But let's talk about regular people.
My best advice is actually, rather than it being gym advice, is movement advice. So I would say find a form of movement that you actually enjoy. I, for example, will probably never be someone that you will find in like a High Rocks or CrossFit gym. I don't enjoy it. It doesn't suit my body and I find it quite stressful. However, if you want to let me walk for 3 hours in the middle of green space, absolutely lovely. Like, I'm very happy to do that. Yoga, Pilates, the odd strength session here and there, lovely. But I think it's about finding what you enjoy and sticking with it, being consistent with it. Just because your friend lifts weights in the gym 4 times a week doesn't mean that you have to. It means, actually, no, go and find what works for you. And also, movement shouldn't, and it definitely isn't just going and working out. It can also be walking with friends. It can also be playing paddle or tennis with friends. It doesn't have to be an hour of your day of just working out and exercising. Those other things really are important too.
And the social aspect, which we'll get to.
Yeah.
Pilates is a big one these days.
Yes.
Regular Pilates, reformer Pilates, things that go over my head.
Yeah.
I look at Pilates and think, I'm not flexible enough for this. But there are a lot of benefits to Pilates, which I don't know what you do.
So it's an interesting one again, though, with Pilates, because I think it's something that we've jumped on as a society. Traditional Pilates that Joseph Pilates formed decades, maybe even centuries ago, was all about lengthening, and it was all about using muscles slowly and engaging muscles and tissues to build core strength and like help with posture, she says, as she like sits up, to make sure that you're supporting your body. What's happened now is, and I think, you know, it's not a bad thing, I think we just need to be aware of it, is that the fitness industry has come into the Pilates world and tried to adapt and change it slightly. So things such as transformer Pilates is not what original Pilates was designed for. I personally am a fan of traditional Pilates. I like things to be slower. I like to be doing the 100, which is like one of the famous exercises in Pilates. Whereas now we're moving into a world where people are doing a HIIT class on a reformer, which is very different.
So that doesn't make too much sense to me, but I know a lot of people are listening to this and they understand what you actually mean. What's the difference between Pilates and yoga? Because when I look at it, it looks similar, but obviously it isn't.
Yeah, so Pilates is, well, previously wasn't just the form of exercise. It was, you know, about rehabilitation, building the posture, building the muscles, building the core. Whereas yoga was, realistically, it's come from different cultural backgrounds to kind of support with not just exercise and movement. Realistically, it was from the mindful perspective. People would come and do a yin yoga class, which is all about stopping, calming, and just stretching, leaning into your mindfulness. Whereas they would also go and do like a vinyasa class, which is all about building fire in the body. So it's coming more from like a energetics and a spiritual side rather than it being a form of exercise.
So stretching, re-engaging with yourself, mentally being aware is essentially what it was. Traditionally then it wasn't exercise, was it?
No, it was more of a mental practice.
Right.
And it also came from, I'm going to say, I believe it was from like Indian heritage and cultures too. Well, different forms of yoga are from different areas of the world. We've had like Thai cultures and Indian cultures and all different things. But don't quote me completely on that. And I think now we've built a world in which it can be exercise and it can be for the mind. For example, yesterday I went to a yin yoga class, which was purely for me just about stretching, releasing some tension in my body and breathing. It's not going to hit my movement goals for the week, but it's really important for my mind, and that's more important.
Yeah, I'm learning a lot. I'm learning a lot. Would you recommend Pilates to the average person?
Yes, absolutely. And what I'm really enjoying at the moment is because Pilates has got itself a bit of a rep of being like a girly thing to do, like all the Pilates girlies. But actually, there's a lot of trends at the moment around kind of like gym bros trying Pilates classes and walking into them being like, this is going to be easy, and it's really not. You know, you're actually using muscles that you probably don't use in the gym because they're the tiny fibers. You're working on core strength, but not from doing like sit-ups and things like that, but from actually being able to hold your body.
Wow.
And I always notice that after I've done a Pilates class, because everything's about opening, my body actually just feels how it's supposed to. We spend so much time hunched over our laptops and hunched over our phones, whereas Pilates pushes me back and makes me remember, oh, I'm supposed to be upright.
Yeah, I've got like long-term pain here from editing and design work, and
that area of the shoulder is my weak spot. As soon as I'm on my laptop for too long, I'm like, okay, it's starting to niggle. It's time to either get myself to Pilates, get a massage, or just close my laptop.
Yeah. But do you always listen to that advice though?
No.
Yeah.
No, but nobody does.
No, I don't.
And I think this is something else where there's a bit of a stigma. Stigma's the wrong word. More of a reputation that practitioners have got everything clued out. They really haven't. If anything, they're relying on the resources more than most people because they are thinking, I need to be the best version of myself. And don't get me wrong, I will very obviously, prioritize my well-being and my wellness because I was unwell before and I don't ever want to go back to that point. But now it's about looking at those warning signs. And for me, that niggling shoulder is my warning sign. Obviously, as soon as it starts hurting, I don't go, that's it, slam the laptop closed and off I go. But I will go, it's starting to play up a bit. Maybe it's something to just have in the back of your mind and maybe book something in for this week.
Yeah, I've had that my whole adult life. And honestly, it feels like it's chronic at this point. And you're right, you can't just put the laptop down sometimes. You have to edit, you have to prep. And there's a balance between responsibilities and your health because indirectly we're trading off our future health for tomorrow's success in some ways, which is a part of society these days. It is.
Well, I think it's because people now also like celebrate the grind. Like how many times have you bumped into a friend or seen a friend and they've been like, how are you? And they've gone, I'm really great, thanks. I'm so chilled. I'm great. No one says that. 9 times out of 10, everyone's going, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. Like, work is so busy at the moment. I'm guilty of it, especially at the moment. September in the wellness world is bonkers. That's when we're recording and it's like nuts. And I would bump into friends, and even today I've seen a friend this morning and she was like, how are you? And I was like, we've just got to get through this last week. That's not healthy, but that's the way that the modern world has made the burnout seem sexy.
I agree with you. I do think there are beautiful stories that come from grinding and making sacrifices over years. But sometimes, well, on a deeper sense and even on a general everyday sense, people like Gabor Mate, they always say, we all suffer, so choose your suffering.
Completely.
And if your suffering is your career for X amount of time, okay. But your suffering shouldn't always have to be in exchange.
No, I agree. And also I think I'm very much of the opinion of you should enjoy what the suffering, quote unquote, is. So I absolutely adore my work. I love what I do.
Yeah.
So it never feels like I'm, doing something at the detriment of something else. It feels as if I'm doing this because I bloody enjoy it, and that's good. But yes, of course, there are days when I'm like, oh my gosh, I just would much rather read my book and go to bed today.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that I'm seeing it as like a pain. It's something that I'm seeing it as I've just got to get this done. Everyone has things that they don't want to do.
Yes.
And to your point about making the sacrifices, am I aware that yes, it won't always be like this? Of course. But that's kind of the choice that I've made. And I think a lot of people in this world, especially within, younger generations and young adults, I think very much are like, I've just got to do this for the next 4 or 5 years. And that's great. But also making sure that you've got the downtime in those 4 to 5 years is also very important.
Let's go back to regular gym bros. I kind of ask this from a selfish personal perspective, because after many years, I finally started to go in the gym again. But what I've realized after sitting here for 10 minutes is that I actually don't know what I'm consuming. All I know is protein, good food, and sleeping well. Surely there's more to gym than that.
Yeah, recovery.
Okay, recovery.
And this is the point that people always forget about. And there is, emerging trends now, which I'm so relieved of that You can work out 5 days a week, but if you don't recover, nothing's gonna change. And by recovery, I mean allowing your body to repair. I mean allowing your muscles to actually regenerate and build. And I mean your body just going, time to relax.
When you say recovery, are you physically talking about your body being able to produce the proteins it needs, like in the time frame that it needs?
Yeah. So by allowing your body to rest, that's when those amino acids, which are the building blocks of protein, are going to be put to work.
So rest is more than just sleeping 8-9 hours, correct?
Absolutely.
Does that mean then you should go gym one day and rest the other, or is it okay if you're working on a different muscle the next day?
It really depends on your goals. I can't really comment too much as I'm obviously not a PT, but I always say the best way to do it is just to have a really good variety of movement within the week. So yeah, if you're doing arms on a Monday and upper body on a Monday, lower body on a Tuesday, and then you're having a rest Wednesday, great. And then maybe Thursday you're going to go for a walk. Friday you're going to do a full body HIIT class or something. It's just good to have a good variety, but also making sure there is downtime. And also recovery comes into the food that you're eating too, because you want to make sure that you are replenishing your muscles and making sure that they're being built and being replenished basically. Otherwise you are going to be running on an empty tank. And that's where people start saying, well, I'm going to the gym and I'm doing all this stuff, but nothing's changing. Yeah, but are you allowing your body to actually recover, build muscle, and do the work that you're putting in?
I think another big thing that is a mistake within the gym world is this idea of spacing out what days you work out what, and then forgetting that sometimes the best workouts are the workouts that work out more than one thing. So the rowing machine is probably the best workout you could do in the gym. And what it actually does is that even if I hit my mic, even if I hit shoulders and arms, for example, on Monday, if I just hit the rowing machine on Wednesday, I've reignited those muscles again without having to dedicate a whole hour session to them.
Yeah.
So mobility, exercises that do more than one thing is, I think, very important for gym. Consuming food properly, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And I also think, we look at the extremes in terms of, a lot of people that do a lot of extreme sports might have a sports massage to help with their recovery. Or me personally, I'm a massive fan of using red light therapy. So I will sit in front of red light after doing quite an intense workout class. And it's however works best for you and whatever is accessible to you as well.
Thank you for watching that clip. If you enjoyed it, here's the full podcast right here on my right, maybe your left. I'm not sure how YouTube works. Or here is another clip right here. Take care, everybody. See you on the next one.